Hello and welcome back to our Let's Play of Fire Emblem Path of Radiance for the Gamecube. I'm the Namekian and we're on Chapter 3, Pirates Aground. When last we left, Ike and friends disobeyed orders to rescue Mist and Rolf from a group of bandits. They were able to successfully do so with the help of Titania and two other followers. And now we're gonna get an earful from our commander for disobeying the orders. And kind of accept our punishment, which, as it turns out, really isn't that much of a punishment. Alright, so here we go. Punishment was delayed due to the amount of work out there, so Ike gets to participate in liberating a town from pirates, and in doing so, we get introduced to kind of the last two characters of the current company, Shinon, however you want to say it, which is our first archer slash sniper. He is an already promoted unit like Titania, and Gatry, however you want to call that, our meat shield tank character. Both are extremely good characters to level up, though we won't be concentrating on them quite yet, as you will see later on. So we'll be using them sparsely, probably a little bit more than Titania, but not really as much as we're going to be using Ike. So for this map, the goal is to basically, the only goal really is to beat the boss, so you don't really have to rout all the enemies, but of course the more you kill, the more XP you get, so forth and so forth, and there really isn't all that much danger. There is that one, there are a few archers, or one or two ranged enemies, but you really don't have any class that really would be all that much in danger. So even the boss really isn't that big of a threat. So the overall initial goal for this map is to obviously visit the houses, stay alive, but importantly, you're gonna want to kind of bum rush Ike to the ship. That's your immediate goal. Now on hard mode, or on the harder difficulty settings, that's a lot harder to do, to get Ike up there. There would have to be a little bit of luck involved, but as you can see, most of the enemies are axe wielders, so Ike pretty much has the advantage over them here, and there really isn't all that much. But at the beginning of the map, you kind of heard them talking about the thunder and lightning and all that maneuvers. Yeah, it's, obviously makes sense to have your ranged character behind the meat shield, but you don't really have enough units to protect them in this particular map. So it's not that big of a concern, but later on you do. Now Shinon is a little bit different than your typical archer as well. He comes with provoke, which is kind of odd, but he'll eventually be a very fast character. He has a very good dodge, and he can actually take a bit of damage before kicking the bucket. So he's not really a squishy character, but he's not a meat shield either. As for the meat shield, he's a little bit different too. Most knight and armor classes are very, very weak against axes, primarily, regardless of their weapon. Ours doesn't really fall under that handicap. He's actually pretty strong against everything except magic. He's extremely weak against magic. So kind of want to watch out for that, which we don't really have to worry about quite yet. But so it's a pretty simple map. We're still in the tutorial phase of the game, so it's meant to kind of learn how it all works, but it's really not that complicated. here we have our first, say, ally unit on the map, which is indicated by that green circle. Basically, it is it symbolizes an ally. They're fighting for your, or not really fighting for your side, but they'll fight the enemy, but you don't have really any control over them. They're kind of independent. Now, in the trick on this is you want her to stay alive until I can get up there and talk to her. The problem is that's incredibly difficult if you don't know what you're doing on the harder difficulty settings, because that she's a Pegasus Knight, and they are extremely vulnerable to bows. So you see that one bow that's there on the map. They're also pretty weak against axe, obviously, since she has a spear. But she's a pretty weak unit right now. You're obviously pretty safe for the first like 2 rounds on the harder difficulty settings. Any more than that, it's really difficult, especially because you have no control over her. You know, she would be close to dying and still whack a person, and end up dying in the return fire. So it can be a challenge, but you want to keep her alive. And you can see here, again, Shinon, much like Titania, where since he's already promoted, he's barely getting any XP for any kills. So that's one kind of reason why you kind of want to, you know, not do as much with him as you would normally. And this particular house, I won't give it away quite yet, is not completely important to go and visit, but you do want to make sure that you do visit the house. So you can use either I would use either Shinon or Titania to visit the house, since, you know, whatever the case. But again, since Titania can cover more ground quicker, and you don't really want her to kill enemies, or enemies come after her, she's a pretty good choice to do the busy work, so to speak. The only thing you have to be careful with in some of these early maps is inventory space. You don't want to get a special item and then have to discard it because you don't have inventory space in order to hold it. So just something to keep in mind. the other kind of downside to those to these allied units is they do not get XP for the kills, and they actually rob you from getting the XP from killing enemies as well. So it's kind of you know, most of the time, at least in this particular game, you know, your ally units become more of a nuisance than actually anything really overly helpful. And here I am kind of demonstrating the shove abilities. It's kind of invaluable to use to position characters where they need to go. Either giving a boost to how much they can move in the next time or not. But it is a very, very helpful trait. And here we go with Ike talking to the allied unit. In this particular instance, we're basically saving her and saving her so that she can flee. And only Ike can talk to her. That's why you're gonna want to make a beeline for the ship, especially in the harder difficulty settings. She did a pretty good job staying alive in this instance, but there's a pretty good chance that she could die, and you do want to talk to her before clearing the map, even if she is still alive. You don't really want to postpone that. I believe in the harder mode too, she's even a little bit more how should we say, stupid when it comes to attacking. I ran into situations where she will even go head on to the boss of the stage, and she's not going to be too successful against him. So that means it's if she gets criticals on those first few characters that attack her, that's when things get kind of dicey. She'll make a bad call. So it may be if you see that she's really plowing through the baddies, it may not be a bad thing just to go ahead and restart the map, just so that you can get to her. And there goes the boss. And since that was the objective of the map, we don't have to worry about killing that last guy. So we were successful. And you can see here that my inventory is full. I discard that thief band because I don't need it. Since I'm using the fixed, the fixed leveling system. But if you weren't using the fixed and you were using more of the dynamic, then you're gonna probably want to keep that band. Maybe throw out something like one of those lower heals, or worst case scenario, use an item that you have in there, like that speed boost that I had in there, or whatever it was, to make room. But you would want that ring if you're not on that fixed leveling system. But that will do it. I will close it out with the final text box / dialogue that you're gonna get. Basically, the village thanking you for saving them and all that other kudos. Moving forward, the maps are going to get longer, and in interest of time, what I will do is I will cut the beginning and ending, and I will separate them out into their own videos. So the only make it a little bit easier for downloading and all that wonderful stuff. So moving forward, I will do that. If something new pops up, like when we get our inventory system and all that stuff, I will go through that. But for moving forward, I'll just kind of skip to the maps. So until next time, God bless, and thank you for watching.